You ready for this? This is a long time coming. I don't know if you guys have seen these before, but you showed these to me a while back, and these are like the worst wedding vows I've ever seen in my entire life. They're just rude. They're disrespectful. They make me actually annoyed. These are his full vows and hers. And like, listen, I'm for a little bit of tomfoolery in the vows. It's fun. But I mean, oh my God, he goes so far. It just pisses me off. It's like, do you even love your wife? Like, this is supposed to be like your day.
Yeah.
And you're acting like a real, piece of work.
The worst thing, do you want me to tell you the worst thing about these people?
The worst thing is his fucking ear piercing.
The worst thing about these people is that they have kids together, and I believe their kids are at this wedding.
Wow. Incredible.
Like, they've been together a minute.
A minute? A minute. All right, let's get this. Let's just watch.
Since the day
we start with "You're screwed." You're screwed.
Since the day we started talking, after falling through my bedroom window, within minutes I could tell you were the one for me.
Yeah.
Then as time went on and I was falling deeper in love with you, I was and always will be one of the easiest people to please. Only two things are required to keep me happy: keep my belly full and my balls empty. Though you're amazing at half of
right off the bat, a little too much for me. But
yeah,
it's
that's
okay.
too much, but that could like potentially, like, if you said that
Everybody gets
and that
one.
was all you said, people would be like, ha ha ha, Dan's so funny, you know?
Yeah, everybody gets one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep going.
of it, we really need to get you some cooking lessons. Even when
He also is not very funny. His delivery is terrible.
No, he's just...
He delivers things like he's just is garbage. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
belly isn't full, there is no one I could ever love more in this lifetime, unless I actually get a chance to meet Margot Robbie. Since the beginning,
I just don't. I understand it's a little joke. But it's your wedding.
Her laughing, that's not a, oh, you're funny laugh.
Well, you don't think so?
No.
You think that she's like genuinely hurt? She's just playing it off?
Yeah.
Bro, I got the wedding, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just pearl clutching.
I was always told you I was going to make you the happiest woman in the world and give you everything I could possibly give. Well, today I'm taking a step further and giving you my last name, the last name of champions.
Okay. That's just
No
cringe.
one deserves it more. With you and the girls by my side, I feel like I can conquer anything. Y'all make
I don't really like her hair.
No, I don't either.
Sorry to her.
life worth living, giving every breath of every day a purpose. Life gets even better when the kids fall asleep and you tell me to come to the bedroom. Nothing's better than the sound of gag.
It's like beating a dead horse. How many times you make the same joke? In an unfunny way. You know what's actually interesting about this guy? He's actually Brazilian. I looked into it.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's from Brazil. He's actually cousins with Dennis Vitosa. I don't know if you've ever heard that person's name before.
No, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that guy's not very funny either.
Are you being for serious? Or are
Yeah.
you making a joke?
I'm being...
I just don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, he's just that guy. You know, he's a bad comedian. So.
and headboard slamming.
Oh,
Everyone
headboard
keeps telling
slamming.
me that marriage is...
Look, she's getting really angry. I'm missing 4.
Well, yeah, and then I think that's like his mom standing there or whatever, and
Yeah.
she gave him the Michael.
going to ruin a lot of things, but I feel that's only if you let it. Even if we fight, argue, or don't see eye to eye on something, it'll never affect the way I love you. Marriage is something I take seriously, and I
Can
only...
I just tell you that it just sounds like he's trotting. He's like dragging his feet through this. I cried when I told you my vows a little bit. I'm not gay, but I cried.
So stupid.
But I got some tears, Mike, because I love you a lot.
want to do once. After almost 10 years, I still stand by the fact that you're my soulmate, and it'll never change.
Okay.
After today, the only thing changing is me having to deal with the ring on my finger. You will forever have my heart, and that's a promise till death do we part.
Okay.
P.S. Since you're so good at making decisions like marrying me, you can choose whether tonight's going to end with being a toaster strudel or a Twinkie.
Alrighty. I'm speechless.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
You have to pretend that you think it's funny so that you can play it off.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh. Well, how lazy are the vows? I just think listen, I make a lot of sexual jokes with us on the stream. Right? I do it all the time. I'm very much in love with you. I'm very attracted to you. But first of all, I'm funny.
You're
Right?
so annoying.
I'm funny.
Annoying.
I'm a funny guy. Look at this. Yeah, you can't beat that. Bow, bow, bow. Because I'm Jewish. Jewish people are funny. And that's why I have a little Jew in me. And then the next joke is you do so sometimes too. But I'm actually funny. That's number one. Number two, this is your fucking wedding. Like you already get mouth off. Well, you don't mouth off. You say stop. You tell me to chill. But this is on a stream. This is a wedding. It's supposed to be a special day. It's like make one. You get one. And make it funny. So the whole thing was just centralized around like how many 30 times can I talk about this? It's fucking loser shit. That's the way I look at it. And she was definitely mortified.
Being that I am his mom, I will deal with him later. He is grounded.
What, are you gonna fuck him or something? I don't know.
By all means.
Okay, so that was his vows. One of those.
Just so disgusting.
Yeah. Time and a place, and be funny about it. His jokes don't land. All right, he just saying. I don't know. This guy's weird. Let's watch her vows though.
My knight in shining armor, my best
Did you watch hers? Does he interrupt her and talk about fucking her?
I don't think so.
Oh, good.
friend, my biggest pain in the ass. Our adventure started a little shy of 10 years
Oh,
ago.
because I fuck you in the butt. He should have interrupted and said that. That sounds like a him kind of joke, no?
And in that 10 years, we have already accomplished so much together and created a beautiful life. When I met you in school, I started crushing on you, but I didn't dare let it be known because I thought you were too good for me. So I let it go. Like they say, if you truly love someone
How wrong was she? The opposite is the truth.
or something, let it go. And if it comes back to you, then it was meant to be. Now here you are standing in front of me on our wedding day.
Can I just say something? He looks like the kind of guy that does like a bachelor party to have sex with the one last girl before committing.
Yeah, like he'll fuck a stripper.
Yeah, like that's the guy. Like I mean, like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like that doesn't make any sense to me to do stuff like that. To have sex with somebody else like one last time. It's just like weird, But he just seems like the kind of guy who would fuck a stripper. For an STD and then blame her for it.
Yeah, right?
That's what I think. Which one do you think he has? Think he collected them all?
Press play.
I'm more than thankful for every day
Pokemon.
with you. You have completely stolen my heart, and I honestly never want you to give it back.
Look, she's crying.
You are one of the most selfless, funniest,
thing.
caring people I have ever met, not to mention very accident prone. We've created two of the most beautiful girls.
I think
in this
that she's referring to the fact that every time he accidentally ejaculates in her and their kids are accidents. That's what she's referring to.
Baby, that's mean.
What are you talking about? That's what I looked into this. That's what I researched. I'm just kidding. That wasn't me. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
world together. We bought our first house. We've made it through the rough times and the good times.
Beautiful.
And since I have you, I know we will always make it through. Thank you for choosing me to create your life with. I know I'm no model, by far not a good cook unless you want soggy meatloaf. And as we all know, I'm the real sleeping beauty with a temper. But thank you for loving me still, the way you do. You are literally making the fairy tale I always dreamed of come true. Well, maybe a little more funnier than I imagined. But it's still way more than I could ever ask for. I will forever want you rocking beside me when we're old, talking about our day, making jokes, recalling memories. If you could leave out the passing gas, though, I'd greatly appreciate it. I love you so much, Michael John Lentini, and I promise to choose you every day for the rest of my life and beyond that.
Ugh.
My night in
Her vows were nice. She was emotional when she read them.
Do you think that he felt like a piece of shit after?
I hope so. If he did, then he's a little more redeemed. That was just like a scummy thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about that for a while, and we just never got to it. So.
Well, now look at the one that I sent you.
Oh yeah, you sent me a different thing, which I don't really understand what it is, but apparently it's part of this. Let's watch it.
You try to turn a shut up ring into a marriage, ladies. So you all love that.
All right, let's start
This is
though.
what happens when you try to turn a shut up ring into a marriage, ladies.
So a shut up ring is when you just like get proposed just to get somebody to shut up.
Yeah, so I think she's gonna like explain it in the video, but basically what she's saying is that like when you like she was with him for 10 years, has 2 kids.
Yeah.
Like if you're with somebody and you're like, oh, like when are we gonna get married? I think we should get engaged. Like basically,
It's like a shut up
the
ring.
the idea of like having to ask to get married or like convince somebody to get married.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you all love that phrase, and the question I'm getting more than any other is, how can you tell it's a shut-up ring in advance? And I have pictures in the background of what I think are shut-up ring weddings, and I'm going to tell you how to avoid them. So you can...
I just don't... I won't go to any of my friends' weddings, and then I avoid the shut-up ring weddings. It took her a second.
You're so dumb.
Me? It took you a second.
It's a shut-up ring.
I would actually go to the shut-up ring wedding, because then the food... As long as the food's good, you know? That's why I show up to weddings. Because the food's good. That's all I care about. Alcohol, too.
By several easy factors. First of all, if you had to ask for it, especially more than once, a man should be excited about you.
I will say, I can generally understand, like, not asking, or I can get the asking. Like, a little bit. It depends on how. It's, like, so nuanced. Like, there are some people that are comfortable. It's not that they don't want to get married. They just don't, like, necessarily see the need to. So maybe, like, to the guy, and I think that this is more common for men. Men are probably just like, I don't really care.
I was gonna say, I feel like men, like, I think that there's less men than women that feel like the need to get married, but I think that men are, like, more flexible on it.
Yeah.
Where, like, if the girl you're with wants to get married and have kids, like, you're gonna get married and have kids.
Yeah.
But if that same girl, like, didn't want to get married or didn't want to have kids,
He would be
like,
fine
they
with
would
that.
be content with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, and I think so. Like, I think that you could be like, oh, like, do you want to get married to me? And he might just be like, oh, I guess. You know, like, all right, might as well. Let's make it fucking. I guess. Like, that would be a man thing to do.
I think that it's different, like, when you start dating, like, very young. But I do think that that's, like, kind of a good conversation to have when you start dating about, like, just, like, what you desire in the future.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, like, this crazy cringy thing, like, oh, on the first date we're talking about getting married. Like, on the first date we're talking about, like, what we want in life, because, like, if that doesn't match, then let's not waste our time. And let's not try to convince each other that, like, one or the other is going to do it, because then it's not going to work out.
I agree with that 100%.
He should be thrilled to think about spending the rest of his life with you.
It's fun.
So,
you know, every once in a while at night, I go into like an existential crisis and think about how I'm going to die one day, and I get very scared that I'm hoping that we follow each other in our death. Last night was another night. I was kissing on your back and stuff. I don't know if you felt it. I was sad. Like it was early in the morning. I stayed up late to work, but I was sad. I was like, fuck. Like, I'm gonna die one day. I'm gonna just get cancer and die one day or something. And I'm like, I hope my wife and I stay together forever.
That's so sweet of you. I was so angry at you the whole night.
We were a little angry.
Because I was snoring and he shushed me. He said shush.
I said shush.
And when he said shush, I woke up and then I couldn't get back to sleep and I was just so angry. And I woke up. Yeah, I did have to poop. But I woke up and I was just so angry at you. And then I woke up and I was still angry at you.
So
love
funny.
you.
Love you too.
You're the one who's had to sort of chivvy this thing out of him. Where is it going? It's been 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever.
20 years is wild.
Crazy, yeah.
He doesn't want you. Yes, the Kens should be adult about it. They shouldn't marry people who they don't want to marry. But as I said in my last video, they will do it because, you know, a lot of reasons. They're afraid of being lonely. They bend to social pressure easily. They don't want to own their feelings, and they don't want to lose the benefits of being with you. So they still want the on-tap physical intimacy. They still want you to do the domestic labor. They still want your company. They just don't want to commit to you.
Well, that depends. Because, like, I don't know about this guy. He might be committed to her. He might just, like, not care about the marriage part, but since it means more to him and it means nothing to, it means more to her, it means nothing to him, he's like, all right, fuck it. Like, I think that's okay.
I don't know. I think that guys, or just people in general who are not, like, enthusiastic about their partner is probably more likely to step out of the relationship as well.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, I could see, like, I think generally I could see why a guy would be less, like, they doesn't care as much about marriage or the institution of it, where women care more. That's all I'm saying. So as a broad statement, I'm not talking about them specifically. Like I said, he looked like he fucked a stripper the night before this wedding.
Oh, yeah.
But you get what I'm saying.
So they're going to be resentful little children and act like you're forcing their hand, when in reality, they're just being greedy and trying to have their cake and eat it too. This
Sounds
guy
good
in
to
the
me.
picture, this groom here, a perfect example of a shut-up ring trying to turn into a marriage. They had been together for a decade, had 2 daughters without getting married, and he embarrassed her with these vows because he was pissed he finally had to marry her. I guess she...
Do you think that's what it is? I don't interpret it like that.
I mean, like, when I listen to him, like, my little story for him in my head was he was probably like, fine, like I'll write some vows.
Really?
Yeah.
I interpret it as he's just a really dumb, unfunny idiot. I thought that would be so funny to do that. But you think that it was what is it called? Weaponized incompetence almost.
Maybe.
Oh. Mayhaps. Buzzword. Actually, I think this is weaponized incompetence. What do you think about that? Actually?
I think it's weaponized incompetence.
With a side order of disrespecting your wife. I don't know what I'm doing. I hate my life right now. Interesting. It's interesting that the women's and male perspective on that is a little different. Because I come from the perspective of, like, I would make some dirty jokes. And I could see myself one day. I mean, I go too far sometimes with my dirty jokes. And I don't mean anything negative by it. I just love you. And I like talking about you and bragging about it. But from him, you're thinking, like, no, this is him.
Being a jerk.
Being a stinky poo boy.
Put her foot down. Her family put their feet down. And he felt made to do it. But it's like, sir, you
maybe. I mean, the mom is officiating the wedding. When are you going to marry that nice girl?
Yeah, the mother of your children.
Mother of your children. Shame on you, Devin. What's his name?
I think it was Michael or something.
Michael.
Was it Michael? Red flag.
Yeah, red flag.
Oh, shit.
Every single week, you almost fall backwards on the chair and you go,
That's the first time I did it on stream, though.
Okay.
All the benefits. You should have been a grown man and broken it off if you didn't want her. But he's got a delusion in his head that he's going to get Margot Robbie, so he wants to mistreat you.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I understand everybody kind of has their celebrity crush. You have your celebrity. You like Post Malone, right?
Adam Driver.
And I get that. And like Lucy Lawless and Lindsay
Shaw, Bailey J.
No, not Bailey J so much. Lindsay Shaw, though, for sure. But I would never.
Even today?
What?
Even today?
Today, with what?
Like, you still think she's hot?
I like her now more.
Really?
Yeah. She's fucking crazy. I love crazy women. You are crazy as shit. I like Lindsay Shaw more now after her mental breakdown like a couple of years ago.
You're so fucked up.
It's not like fucked up. I don't know what it is about, maybe I'm a walking red flag.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
Me too.
Well, that's why we love each other. But I would never choose any of them over you. Like, it's like,
that'd
be cool if I could like fuck them, but I wouldn't want to because we're married. But you know what I mean? Like, they're handsome. And like if we weren't together, I'd fuck them. That's how I think you'd think of like Adam Driver and stuff.
You and Adam Driver could kiss, though.
Adam Driver would make a very attractive trans woman.
No, he wouldn't.
Oh, 1,000%. I could see it.
He's got a schnozola for days.
Yeah, I like big noses though.
I don't have a big nose.
Well, you have a unique nose, is what I meant to say. I like unique noses. But I feel like, throwing the Margot Robbie in there. It's just like, what are you doing?
Just like a dig.
It's like you trying to summon her. What the hell's the matter with you?
But do not let men hang out in your world without commitment for a decade. And don't have any children for men you're not married to. It's,
that's not bad advice.
That leads to shut-up rings. If you are pregnant and in a relationship with someone and they don't offer to marry you immediately, the relationship is never going anywhere.
I disagree with this.
Well,
I full-heartedly disagree with
this. Maybe. Okay, you go. Give me your take. Go ahead.
My opinion is that if you are pregnant and you get engaged while you're pregnant, it's like a responsibility engagement. It's not an actual love engagement.
Okay, so what you're saying is if you get somebody pregnant, still be there for them, the baby specifically, and still continue to explore your feelings for each other and don't get responsibility engaged because maybe you just got pregnant too soon. It's not that you guys are necessarily not for each other.
Yeah, and just because you have kids together doesn't mean that you have to be together, honestly.
Well, that's what they're saying, though, is that if you don't immediately get married, that the relationship's not going anywhere. But it sounds like what you're saying is like, listen, you might be with somebody for like, let's say 5 months and everything's going great. And you accidentally get them pregnant and you decide to keep it. Don't just get married. Still date them. Always be there for the kid, but still date them and see how it goes. Don't put that extra pressure.
Yeah, like that, and that's what I'm saying. She's saying the opposite of me. She's saying like you get pregnant. Like if we were dating, I got pregnant, you should have proposed to me immediately. I wouldn't trust that.
Yeah, I get that. Like you're better off still exploring the relationship. Okay, I agree with that.
Just know that. if he ever said he didn't want to marry you. It sounds like an easy one, but a lot of women don't realize after the first no, it really doesn't matter what he says afterwards. Like I said, because he wants to maintain access to your benefits.
I think that sometimes you just might not be ready. There's a world where, maybe she's like, oh, you ready to get married? He's like, I'm not there yet. I think that's okay. It doesn't necessarily mean a hard no. Sometimes it's just like an emotional space that you're not ready to commit. There's a bunch of other stressors going on in your life, and now the stress of getting married could be a lot, especially because we haven't even talked about the expectations of a wedding from women in general. If your woman has an expectation of a marriage that's going to cost you $10,000 or $20,000, it's going to be much harder to get married than if we do like a nice $300 wedding like we did, where we got like a nice ring, we got a nice dress, you got a very nice dress, it was very beautiful, and then I had a nice, whatever on. It didn't cost us very much. Like, it's easier to commit to that because it's not going to be an expense for the rest of our life. So if you have a high expectation, and some women do have very high expectations.
People are taking out loans. I saw on Facebook,
crazy.
and I'm still like in all the wedding Facebook groups. This woman had like a $30,000 budget, and so far she was at $35,000. These Disney weddings, let me tell you, never ever would I ever want to do that.
Unless
you have to be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, because they don't do it during park hours.
Of course not.
So you have to either do it really early in the morning or like very late at night. At like, it costs I think to have Mickey and Minnie at your wedding costs like an extra $5,000, and it's like those are just 2 guys in suits.
Yeah,
weddings are wild. We at first were organizing like a large wedding, but very quickly I was over it.
Yeah, I like that we did it small. If we decide to have a party or something one day, we will. But I think we're fine, and we don't have like outstanding debt. So, but I think that's a factor, and that you should be considered.
I think though that I think it depends on like how a partner expresses that they don't want to marry you, because
that's fair.
With my ex, for example, me and him dated when we were very young.
Okay.
And I think that he was a bit immature.
Me too.
Especially compared to me. We were just in 2 different spaces. We had 2 different upbringings.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And but I was very serious, and I was the same way I am now as I was with him, and so I had my desires and I knew what I wanted, and I felt like over time what I wanted he started to say he wanted, and I truly felt like it wasn't what he actually wanted.
I get
which
that,
was one of the things that led to the end of our relationship, because like me and you you have your own desires, and I feel like ours just happened to match up perfect.
Yeah, and we have a reasonable amount of compromises in our relationship, but they're not negative compromises. They're not drastic compromises. Our compromises are you like road trips and I don't, so I do them and actually tend to enjoy them.
Yeah.
That compromise is I don't want to get married or do that. It's that's crazy.
Yeah, so I think that if you go into a relationship and the man or woman or whoever is I don't want to get married, that's different than being I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
But if someone's no, I don't want to get married to you.
Yeah, ladies, stop marrying men that don't want to get married and trying to wear their boundaries down, okay? That is very inappropriate. Same thing with you guys, though. Wear that condom,
That's because it's convenient. He may later say something different, but what he said the first time was the real answer. After a man says he doesn't want you, you should leave.
How many? Do you think that this woman was hurt by some man?
Probably.
Because she's speaking very, very absolutes. The only Sith deal in absolutes.
That's the second time you said that word today, and I don't know what you're talking
Sith?
about. I think so.
It was a Star Wars thing. I've never said the word Sith today.
Then what else did you say?
I said, Pete, can I have the meatball slice, please?
No, you didn't.
I said that to the guy with I wanted a meatball slice.
No, you asked for 2 sausages.
I just pointed and said those two of that. So
I forget what word you said today, but I didn't understand.
We'll figure it out.
Never speak to him again. Don't let him wheedle his way back in.
Wheedle.
Here's a big one. If he didn't want to marry you before, but now there's an advantage to marrying you, that's a shut up ring. I had a friend in school who got pregnant by a guy. He said he didn't want to marry her. He said he wasn't interested in her that way. And then he got a big job opportunity in the city that we're both originally from, and he wanted a place to live. all of a sudden he said he would marry her because she had a nice big house in that city.
That seems very like specific and weird. That sounds like a little outlandish. He got a really nice job, so he needed to marry her for a house. Why would he?
No, if you have a really nice job, you probably have really nice money for a nice house yourself,
or just have an apartment. I feel like that one's just not true. But okay, but I get the fundamentals of what she's saying.
Hobosexual. She married him, and of course they're miserable.
That's
I'm
funny.
out of time. Let me know if you want part 2. I have lots more. Like and follow for more.
I think I'm good on just part 1.
Yeah.
That's
What'd you think
interesting.
of that, though?
It was interesting. I think that this person was very assertive, and I think that some of it wasn't very like in depth or nuanced in some areas. But I appreciated the perspective. I also thought hobosexual was very funny. So
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, if you're as a man, don't be a fucking obnoxious dick at the wedding. You dumb piece of shit. That's what I have to say. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and if like there's no way that surprised her.